how do you change thread colors on your embroidery machine? I'm going to be answering that question. Welcome to the Sewing Report. I'm Jen. This channel is all about making sewing and crafts fun and approachable, and I'm going to be doing a few walkthrough embroidery machine videos, so if that's why you're at the channel, you are in luck. So this first one is a question I've been getting quite frequently is, when you're working with an embroidery machine like the one I use, the Brother PE800, do you have to switch out the thread every time you want to change colors? And the answer is yes. So I'm going to walk you through the process and actually stitch out a design from beginning to end so you can see how everything goes. Before we get into things, I just want to take care of a few housekeeping items. First, I am not a sewing machine tech. I don't have any association with Brother, and I get a lot of requests via like email here on the channel or DMs on Instagram. I've been getting those a lot, asking for specific help with someone's embroidery machine or sewing machine. Guys, I'm not able to do that sort of one-on-one thing. One, I'm not a trained technician. And two, for liability and time issues, I'm just not comfortable with those things. So if you are having those types of issues, I would encourage you to reach out to some sort of sewing machine repair tech or Brother support center. I'm going to link the information below. But guys, I just can't answer those DMs and messages like that. So please understand that. And also, I want to ask that if you have specific questions, check back my playlist on the Brother PE800 embroidery machine. I've done quite a few Q&As, and also I did a basic video with an overview of the machine and how to use it. So I may have answered your question in a previous video, so check those first. This machine is called a single needle embroidery machine. So it has one needle, and then if you're doing a design that has different colors, you need to switch out the thread whenever one color stitches out. Now there's a difference between machines like this and multi-needle embroidery machines. Like you may see the more commercial looking ones. They're mega expensive, but a lot of people who have a business use those types of machines. I'm just a hobbyist embroiderer, so that's why I've got this machine. It works great. I've had it for a few years. So I wanted to show you what it's like to stitch out a design. I'm going to be doing this real simple fish design. This is one that is just, it comes included in the machine. Now you can download additional designs from other places and import them into the machine. And I think I'm going to do another video about trying to combine designs within this little touchscreen display, because you can do it. But I also use my software, the Embrilliance Essentials software, and that's been really great for merging designs and trying to add different elements. I have a lot of designs I've purchased over the years. So I've got the design pulled up here, and I'm just using a 4x4 hoop. It's pretty small. All right, so let's set the design. And then you can move it around on the screen and stuff. This is just a test, so whatever. And then for whatever reason, I always tend to lower the tension. The tension is set on default at 4.0. I like to start it off around 3.6 or 3.4. For whatever reason, that seems to work out the best for me. Ideally on the underside of the design, and I have my bobbin thread already loaded, that's just plain white. You want the top thread to wrap around a little bit to the back side so that none of the bobbin thread shows up on top. I just find 3.6 or 3.4 tends to work pretty well for me. All right, so we'll keep it on 3.6. Now, you can see on the screen here that there's different colors. So you start off with white, sky blue, yellow, tangerine. You don't have to use those exact colors, and then the machine tells you how many minutes it's going to take. I do have my machine set on the slowest stitch speed. I just find that works better, and I like to kind of take my time so that I don't get as many like thread breaks and just issues. All right, so let's start off. I'm just using this pretty cheap polyester thread, and this is just a kit I got from, I think it was Amazon, and I just bought it when I first got the machine. I'm gonna also link embroidery supplies below, so if you're looking for stuff to get started, here is your thread spool holder, and you just put your thread in there like this, and then put this little spool cap on. All right, now, this might be a little tricky because I'm coming in from behind, but you're going to want to pull your thread through all the guides here. All right, here we go. Sorry, this is getting a little tricky here because I've got all these cameras and stuff. All right, here we go. All right, pull the hand wheel. All right, it's harder than I thought to do with. All right, here we go. I think we're good. All right, so I'm going to put the presser foot down. Okay. I know some of you said that the automatic threader tends to give you trouble. I personally haven't really had too many issues with mine. It tends to work pretty well. All right, so then I'm gonna just quickly pull this up and then just pull the rest of my thread through like this. Put your presser foot back down. And now you can just start stitching out by hitting the arrow button here. All right. Now stay near the machine because you never know when you're going to run into issues. I also like to snip off this thread here when it starts, since I don't really need this anymore. So I'm just going to like get rid of it. There we go. Okay. And now I'm going to keep on going. The first thread color is done stitching out, so that's the white. And you can see on the touch screen, it just automatically moves up the next color, which is blue. So I got a color that's fairly close. This is the first time I've ever stitched this design out. Also on the thread that's here, I'm just gonna lift up the presser foot. There are some jump stitches that I'm just gonna try to take care of real quick while I can. So I'm just going to use my tiny scissors. These little double curved scissors are available in the Sewing Report Etsy shop if you're looking for something like this. I use mine a lot at the embroidery machine, and I do find that it comes in handy. What do you do now to change the thread color? So you've got to remove the white thread and then put the blue thread on. I'm just going to clip the thread up here and then pull it through down here. Here we go. Because the presser foot's up, the tension should be loosened. So now I'm going to just discard this and then take the white spool off and put the blue one on. Now, sometimes when I get lazy, I literally just pull the thread up through the machine. You're not really supposed to do this. Sometimes I do, I'm just going to admit it, but apparently it can damage your machine. So that's not something I'm going to endorse, but I will confess that is something I occasionally do. So do as I say, not what I do. We're going to take thread number 2, the blue, and just repeat the process. Put it on the thread spool holder and then just thread it like you did the first color. That's really all there is to changing the thread, is just taking off the old spool and then putting on the new one. Here we go. I personally like to leave a longer thread tail just because it makes it easy to snip off once the stitching starts. And I let it stitch for a few stitches. That should be enough to like lock it in, and then I just cut off the rest. All right, so I'm just gonna use the automatic threader. This is a really nice feature. Oh, and your needle does have to be in the highest position. That's something like I forget to do all the time. All right, here we go. I just like to use the tip of my scissors to pull it through, and the presser foot's down, and now you just hit start again, and you can start stitching out the next color. Just gonna stop it real quick, lift it up, trim this extra thread off. All right, here we go, and keep going. All right, here we go. Hopefully nothing goes too wrong with this. I'm going to stop it again and just trim this jump stitching just real quick since I'm catching it right here. There we go. And this is what I do. Like, it takes me a while, and this is kind of time consuming obviously, but this is just the way I like to do my embroidery machine stuff. And I haven't had too many mishaps, so that's good. You can see the actual stitches being counted on the display. And then it also tells you how many minutes each color will take. On to the next color, and this actually shouldn't take too long. The next 4 threads are only 2 to 3 minutes each. We're doing the same thing again, clipping the thread up near the spool, removing it, and then also pulling the thread through down here at the needle. There we go, and I'm also going to lift up the presser foot, here we go, and then just pulling it down through here. The next color is bright yellow, and I also want to give a shout out to these little like rubber thread spool holder thingies I got on Amazon. I got a big bag, and I also got a bunch of bobbin holders as well, and they keep the thread from unraveling, and they're pretty cool. So I'll also link that below. I got a huge bag of them, and I put them on all of the thread because the polyester thread does tend to unravel pretty easily, so that's not fun. Right. And one thing you want to watch out for, sometimes the thread can get snagged like up in this section here, and you'll get a thread break, or you could even get a needle break, because when the thread gets down to the needle stitching out, there's like too much tension and something ends up going wrong. So that's why I personally like to stay near the machine when I'm doing my embroidery, so I can catch these issues in real time. And I'm not like walking away, and then that always happens when I walk away for some reason. I don't know why. Let's put the presser foot down. All right. And I do want to encourage you to check out one of the first videos I did about this machine, because I walked everybody through the steps, like the threading real close up and everything. So if that's your first time using an embroidery machine, you might want to check out that video, because it did have some really helpful information. All right, let's pull this through and start stitching. Right. And again, I'm just going to clip off my extra thread. All right, and pull it away. It's like embroidery with Jen. That one went super quick. Again, let's cut the thread up near the spool, lift the presser foot, and then pull the thread through. And again, these scissors can come in handy for like tight spots like this. Pull your thread out, and then just replace the spool. The next color up is tangerine, so sort of a lighter orange. This design is actually turning out really cute. I've never done this before. I haven't used a lot of the designs that came with the machine, but they do come with quite a few and some fonts. Also guys, let me know. I'm thinking about doing a live stream walking through Embrilliance Essentials. If you're interested, let me know below in the comments, and I'll see if I can do that, like maybe answering questions or like showing you guys the software. It is pretty cool. So maybe we can do that, but let me know if that's something that there's interest for. There are several different versions of Embrilliance. There's a free one. There's the one I have, which is like the step up. That one is usually, I think, $150. And then they have quite a few other ones with different features, but it can be kind of overwhelming. And I haven't even delved into the software as much as I would like either, but it had the features I liked. And so far, I don't regret the purchase. I think it was a good deal. I got it on a little bit of a sale. All right, see this one, it's giving me trouble here. Here we go. I'm just going to pull it, and I don't want to like prick myself with the needle. All right, let's start stitching again. All right. I'll be honest, I'm pretty curious to see how this design turns out. I just thought, hey, fish, cool. Also, I'm in Florida, so it's got like kind of a sea life kind of theme going on. All right, wow, this one has a lot of colors. I actually didn't realize there were that many, but this was a pretty small design, so it's a pretty good example because it's not going to take forever. The next color up is pink, and you can see that one's going to be 3 minutes. I do really like the color touchscreen on this machine. I think it's pretty easy to see and use. The user interface is pretty good. Also, in case this isn't obvious, which it might not be, this video is not at all sponsored. I have no affiliation with Brother or anything. This is just a machine I own and I've had it for a while and I like making videos about it. All right, we're ready to rock and roll. All right, and this is what happens because I forgot to trim the excess so you can see, look at all this stuff. Okay, so this is what happens when you don't like cut off the rest. All right, now I got all this stuff going on. This does not look great. Okay, so now I gotta try to cut all, oh shoot, I think I just accidentally, okay, and that's what happens when you accidentally cut your thread too. I'll show you what happens if you have to rethread mid-design. Yeah, I definitely have some stuff to cut out here. Okay, oh here we go. This should be hopefully not as bad. This is what happens when you don't clip off that extra thread. It gets like messed up into the rest of your stitching. And that was definitely a momentary lapse of judgment here. All right, so let's take this out. And I accidentally clipped my thread. Hey, nothing's perfect, right? Things are not perfect. All right, so I'm just gonna try to clip this out. Jeez, all right. So let's do it the right way next time. All right, here we go. All right, and I'm gonna go back a couple stitches just because my thread got cut. So if you wanna go back a few stitches, there's this button with the needle plus minus. So you can go back like 1 stitch, 10 stitch, 100, or go forward. Or you could even go to the last or next thread color. This 0 here is if you want to go back to the beginning of the design. So I'm just going to go back like 2 stitches. And that should be okay, hopefully. Okay, here we go. All right, so that was unfortunate, but it'll be okay. All right. So now this is why I do this, so that the thread does not get caught up in the rest of stuff. The display even shows you where you are in your design and what the pink stitching will look like in it, so that's pretty cool too. All right, and that is done. Okay. I know there are some people who think this is a really big pain in the butt, but it's really not that bad. You just, you know, it takes a little bit of extra time. But in my opinion, it's not too bad doing this compared to spending $10,000 on a commercial multi-needle machine. So I'm okay with this, and it's not like I'm making hundreds of things a day or anything like that. If I was doing that at that point, I would probably want to get a more commercial level machine, but I'm just doing little projects here. All right. Oh man, there's another color I didn't even know about. So there's a lot more colors to this than I was expecting. I'm actually gonna stop and remove these jump threads real quick. This might seem a little low rent, but I keep a plastic cup in my sewing room and that's where I put all my stray threads. Oh good, this thread is covering up my pink mistake. If you're wondering about the fabric choice and the stabilizer, I just picked up a spare piece of quilting cotton, and then this is just cutaway stabilizer. I think it's medium. Allegedly, there are only 2 more colors, so I really hope this is it. On to the last color. I don't know why, but it feels like I've aged like 50 years since we started this, and I've only been doing this for about a half an hour. So yeah. All right, so we're just gonna snip that thread, pull this guy off, press our foot up, pull this through. And this last color is called Clay Brown. Well, I just found whatever was closest. I do think the design looks cute now that it's coming together. Looks pretty cool. Okay. All right, so we're just gonna run this through everything. And again, make sure your needle position is in the highest spot. Run it through the guides. And again, if you're new to threading, be sure to check out the beginner video I did, like the Brother PE800 overview video, because I show how to wind the bobbin, load the bobbin, and thread the machine. So if this is new to you, hopefully that will help you. Because it is a little confusing when you first get the machine. It's like a sewing machine, so if you use a sewing machine, you definitely should be able to use an embroidery machine. And I would even say if you haven't used a sewing machine, using an embroidery machine really isn't like too complicated. But the machine itself is pretty user-friendly, I think. All right, last time. All right. All right, here we go. All right, so once again, I'm just gonna lift this up, pull this thread out. You can see the stitch counter is really going up, and we're on 24 of 24 minutes, so we're about done. But I do like that it gives you the stitch counter to show like how much progress you've made. It's sort of like when you're on an airplane and it shows you where you are on the trip. I think that's kind of cool. Yay, we're done. See, it even says here on the machine, finished embroidering, so that means we're good. All right, so just lift the presser foot up, clip your last thread. Okay, pull it through the bottom. And I'm gonna go ahead and get this design cleaned up. So let's go ahead and do that. We can remove this from the machine. So this just snaps off here. Here's how I personally like to clean up the designs. First, I start on the back, try to clip these off. I just like the back and the front to look as neat as possible. Maybe this is a little too much, but you know, hey, there's a little bit of a rat's nest here. I'm not really sure what that's from, but I don't know. I just like to do this, so you don't necessarily have to do this, but this is just my whole like process here. All right, clip all these threads here. And then you have to do this on the front. There is some cleanup. Also, you can use a lint roller to clean stuff up too. That works really well. Wow, I don't like when things get knotted. That doesn't happen, it happens sometimes. There's the back, and all right, so now onto the front. This is where you need to be kind of precise. I like to get as close as I can to everything, and then again, I've got this little cup here, so I put all of my scraps in here. Because there were so many colors in this, there's a lot to clean up. But hey, this was definitely a good example to do. Man, my eyes are like, all right, and I can hear my rabbit. I think she's knocking over a cardboard box in the other room. So that's fun for her. If the thread is sort of hanging out, don't worry, because I'm gonna take a lint roller and really clean that up near the end. So we'll see how this looks. Okay, not too bad. Yeah, these scissors are really great because because they're curved, you can get really close to the fabric without cutting into it. So that's why I really like these. This video is sponsored by the Sewing Report Etsy shop. All right, so I think I got this pretty good. Just run your lint roller over it, and that will help clean up little tiny threads. Here's the finished design. I think it came together pretty well. There were more colors than I was anticipating, but it worked out in the end. And I really tried to use the exact matches that I could find for my stash as the design on the display. Little fishies. Back's a little bit messy, but I think it turned out all right. Obviously, if this is like not on the outside, like say you were using this for like a bag, putting on a tote bag or something, and this was just the outside fabric, this wouldn't be showing, so it's on the inside. I typically do try to avoid those thread nests on the back. If you guys have any tips for avoiding those or reducing them, let me know, because I need them. So that's pretty much all there is to it. It's actually a pretty simple process when you break down the steps of changing out your thread colors in between all of those design elements. I hope this video was helpful. If you enjoyed it and found value, I would really appreciate it if you could smash that like button. And if you're here and you want to learn more about embroidery or sewing or crafts, you're welcome to subscribe to the Sewing Report. I do videos like this, also some fun and sometimes crazy ones too. Stay tuned for those. And if you are just here and you're new to machine embroidery, be sure to check out the playlist I have all about using the Brother PE800. Anyways, I'm Jen with the Sewing Report. I'll see you guys again in the next video. And remember, whatever you're doing, make it fun.